Okay, we are looking at areas of circles and sectors, section 7-6. All right, circle versus sector. Okay, so think of a slice of pie or a slice of pizza versus the whole. Area of circle, we already know it's pi r squared, so pi times the radius, or again, just squared. Okay, missing value. All right, so if we're going to find the area of this circle, we're going to use the formula of pi r squared. Our radius in this case would be 7. So then if we plug that in the calculator, pi times 7 squared is going to get me about 153.94 meters squared. Okay, on this one I gave you the diameter, so you're going to have to cut that in half first. Start with the same formula. Then we're going to cut that 17 in half, so our radius is 8.5. We'll square that times pi. It's going to get us about 26.7. That's not right. Let me check that. Should be pi times 8.5 squared. Yeah, that's definitely wrong. I think I forgot my number there, so let's erase that. Okay. And we'll put in the correct answer, which is 226.98. And then it's feet, and when we're doing area, the label is going to be squared. Okay? So on this one, the radius is given to us at 14, so we'll just go pi 14 squared, pop it in the calculator, we get about 615.75 inches squared. All right, this one we're going to undo. So I'm going to give you the area, and we want to undo and find the diameter. So let's start with the formula. Area equals pi r squared. This time I'm giving you the a, so we're going to plug that in here instead. So to solve for r, we're going to divide both sides by pi. Okay, so that's going to let us cancel pi, and we're left with just r squared. Well, if r squared would equal 50 divided by pi, so about 15.92. Now if we want to know what r is, what we're going to do is we're going to take the square root of r squared, which is just r. If I take the square root of this side, I have to take the square root of this side. So then we get r to be 3.99 feet. But we actually want the diameter, so we're going to have to double that. So double that would be 8 minus 2, so it would be 7.98 feet. And this one's not squared this time because we're talking about the length of the diameter. Okay, sector. Okay, it's our section. I tried to code it for you. Okay, it's that blue part. All right, it's the region of a circle formed by a central angle. So remember, a central angle is just an angle whose vertex is at the center of the circle. And its arc. Remember, the arc we talked about was just the crust of the pizza. So now we're talking about that whole slice. Okay, toppings and all. All right, sector, area, formula, proportion. Okay, this looks kind of familiar, I hope. Looks kind of like the arc length formula, except instead of arc length, we're going to put sector area, and instead of circumference, we're going to write area of the circle. But this side is the same. It's the measure of the central angle over 360. So for this particular one, it would look like this. We'd have x over the area of the circle, which is pi r squared. R is 10, so I'm going to put that right there. The measure of my central angle is 65 over 360. So I just cross multiply, and I get about 56.72 inches squared. All right, so let's try this one. We go x over pi r squared. Remember, we got to cut this diameter in half. So 8.5 squared. It's a half circle, so it's 180 degrees over your 360. Cross multiply, we get about 113.49 centimeters squared. Okay, so for this one, our angle is going to be 90. And then we have pi r squared, my radius is 23. Cross multiply, and you get 415.48 millimeters squared. Pretty straightforward, actually. All right, so x, right, over pi times 2 squared equals the 123 over your 360. Cross multiply, we get about 4.29 square miles. All right, so let's try and decipher between the two here, all right? Circumference, all right, is just going to be the distance around the circle. It's just going to be pi times diameter. The area means I want the inside, okay? So I want the whole piece of all of this part here. That's going to be pi r squared, okay? Don't get these two confused. They are different. Okay, so for example, if we were to do the circumference of this circle, I'd go pi times diameter, so it'd be pi times 14. On this one, if I'm going to do the area, it's pi r squared, so it's pi times 7 squared. 7 squared is 49, so this is going to be a lot bigger than our 14, okay? And it is. Okay, and then let's compare arc length versus sector area. All right, so on this one, well, here, let's look at what's the same. We have the 63 as our central angle, 63 as our central angle, 360, 360. Use whatever variable you want. The only difference is this bottom left, okay? This is going to be pi times diameter. Well, I gave the radius, so you got to double it. So that's why I did 12 times 2 times our pi. Versus over here, it's pi r squared. Okay, so it's going to be 12 squared times pi, not 12 times 2. Should be a much bigger answer. All right, so same thing here. Let's try it on this one. All right, so we'd have x over pi times 30. So I took my diameter, which was the radius times 2. Okay, 124 over 360. Versus this one, where I'd have pi r squared. Same top, same bottom, same top, same bottom. So just be very careful on this bottom left part. This answer obviously should be considerably bigger. Okay, we're talking crust versus the whole piece of pizza. We're talking 2 times the radius versus the radius times itself. All right, and then this is going to come up too, so let's just do this one quick. It says if the center of the circle is at 5, 1, and a point on the edge of the circle is at 5, negative 3. Okay, so roughly, okay, it's not a circle, but you get the idea. All right, what's the area of the circle? Well, to find area of the circle, all you need is pi r squared, right? Okay, well, if this is on the edge of my circle, I can figure out the radius right here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So all I have to do is pi r squared. Okay, so pi times 4 squared is about 50.27. And that would be, I guess, units squared, since we don't really have a length. Okay, sorry about my pretty circle there. Okay, so this will come up. So I just wanted to give you a quick sample of that. But basically, you just need those two formulas, the area of the circle and then the area of the sector.